We're live.
Ooh, we're live. I'm trying to go live on.
And it says the recording hasn't started. So
What do you mean?
it just says recording hasn't started. Please stay in the studio after the show to finish uploading your recordings.
All right, hold on, folks. You're live. Are we live?
Says we're live. You know, the pandemic was 6 years ago and we're still.
No, I know, but I'm trying to go live on Instagram. Whatever. Sorry if you're on Instagram watching live.
You figured that out last time.
Well, it's been a year, so, or whatever, months. Alrighty. Where are we at? Where can we see people? Can we see people? Followers or viewers?
You're asking me this?
I know. Why am I?
Stream this to your audience. Isn't that the button?
Stream. It says live. Is anybody out there? Okay, Leslie's out there. She hears us. I thought it
says
said
log in or create an account to send this stream to your own social accounts. But
whatever.
Here we are. Leslie is here. So
Leslie's here. Good to see you back, Leslie. Arizona's warming up.
We still live in the tundra. So yeah. So season 2 feels like, I don't know if it feels like a long time ago we did this or if it feels like just yesterday that we were launching the first one. But pretty cool to be back and excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, for sure. I want to do this. I feel like we weren't consistent with this last year. And I'd like to be a little bit more consistent. I would like to be more consistent. I would like to be consistent this year with this. Maybe not weekly might be a bit of a tough one, but like at least a couple times a month just to kind of check in, review, get a pulse from the community, all of that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think it is nice to go over, like, talk a little bit about the event. It's a chance for people to, hear about different strategies, talk about it, where, kind of the background, the history of it, kind of where it came from. So I think that's at least a minimum where our plan is to do a once a month kind of check-in.
Yeah. So
all
for the first one, let's just kick it off.
Yeah.
Daily 4D. Hello. So we launched the first event, the Furnace, 75-minute ruck at 25% body weight. I like this as a first event because it sort of, I think it evolves Chronos. So last year we started with the 60 minutes. I kind of feel like if we did Chronos version 2 and just went if we didn't change Chronos and we just kept it 60 minutes at 20% body weight, which is a great workout, it would be cool to see that as a, year-over-year data point, no doubt. But I feel like that would have been a little lame we already did that. We can do something slightly different. We can evolve it a little bit. So I really like the Furnace. I really like it.
Yeah, I think, to kind of back up, we spent a lot of time talking about this season, and obviously we're not going to give away anything beyond this month. But, the question of, do you repeat? Do you not repeat? If you're repeating, which do you repeat? How many do you repeat? But I think for this one, our goal with the first event was that it is approachable for people. I think 75 minutes is still very approachable. Anybody that, walks or does endurance, like that's not a long time. I think it's interesting, 25%, in my mind, looking at that number, I kind of forget that it's not an insignificant amount of weight. But for sure, it's possible for people. We're not setting a load that is, you know, really heavy that, you know, people who signed up are going to see the first workout and think like, ugh, I'm out. You know, for people
Yeah.
who do CrossFit, it would be like if workout number one started with muscle ups, and it'd be like, wow, that's really disappointing because, you know, you want to start with something that people can, you know, feel good about, get behind, post a score for. And I think this one was a good one for that.
But I would just, I think last season, our athletes, we merely gave invites. The way the Ruck Race League athletes took the invitations and went bananas with them. I think we're losing perspective a little bit from sane rucking.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see what people did last year, and that now in one season has become just the way it is.
Right.
The people,
like you will run. Like you were saying that like last year,
you will run.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't think people would run.
No.
And then when that first one was like, oh my gosh. So that's not, though, now we're not talking about like this is a ruck running league. This is still a rucking league.
Yeah. And people will still run.
Right.
And there's some people, and, you know, not to go too far into the Kirsty, what's up? Not to go too far into the programming, but like, yeah, we're aware of the running thing. And there's going to be things that you're probably not going to be able to run the whole time. There's going to be some people who, you know, run like 99% of it, but you know, that we understand that. But yeah. What I was actually thinking about was 25% body weight is not light either.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of this thing of like, okay, you typically see what maybe some people who are more famous in like talking about rucking are suggesting for rucking loads well below 25%, 20, 30, maybe 40 pounds. So we're starting the season off just to kind of, I think it's important for us to communicate like, yeah, anyone can do this. And that's why we love it. That's why but 25% body weight is not considered light on any day for the accessibility piece. So yeah, I just kind of want to like, yeah, we love that it's accessible. We love anybody can do this. And also,
it's not a throwaway, right?
No,
we're not saying, oh, we're giving people, but yeah, starting out, I think that's where, you know, one of the things we talked about getting on the show today was the notion of, you know, we put a lot of planning into the season, and a lot of thought into it. And obviously things from last year that may have not worked. How do we make adjustments? Things that did work, wanting to test these different domains.
Yeah.
But also that we feel really strongly about still upholding what we think the essence of rucking is and the value of what we're doing, not maybe making changes or making workouts that fit into, let's just say, the societal kind of pressures right now, of, you know, if we use fitness as an example, we're not doing the 6-week bikini body challenge. We're kind of telling people like, hey, here's the deal. It's going to take you a while. Might not be.
It's going to take me 8 weeks for that bikini body.
It's going to take you at least 8 weeks, Bill.
Yeah.
So, you know, just being honest that we really believe in this stuff, and we think the workouts are really great and we've thought them through, but they aren't what were you calling it? Like
we're not after popularism. Yeah. We're not after populism. And this isn't, I just the more and more I live and see and listen and hear to, I guess listen and hear, similar. Man, populism just really is not like, I feel like populism degrades the soul of literally anything and everything. And when things become viral, or when things become I think a lot of this is like influency or influencery stuff, and it's very popular, and it's a this and it's a that, and it's a quick thing, and it's everybody's echoing the same thing. Creatine is a great example, right? Nobody said anything about creatine forever. Now everybody's a fucking creatine expert. Or like nicotine. Like nicotine. Now all of a sudden nicotine is like a friggin' vegetable for people. And it's like, what are we talking about? And we're not going to do it. We're not going to do, not to say that the sport won't grow, and Ruck Race League might grow. A couple people asked in the Instagram question thing about where do you see the Ruck Race League growing, or how does it grow, and like, no idea, absolutely no idea.
Right.
But what we don't want to do is pursue growth for the sake of populism and growth and anything like that, because
it ends up cutting corners, and it waters down kind of what it is. And it is grassroots. I think for people wondering how it grows, I think it grows because people, like, it's funny, Kirsty just posted, like, people like Kirsty, she was at finals, she had this like incredible experience. Someone else that may have done it, we had many people write into last year saying, they made big life changes during the season. It didn't matter that they didn't make it qualify for finals, but just people who were like really impacted by it. That's what we're after. That's how it's going to grow. It's not going to grow as quickly by doing that. But our day jobs, for people who don't know, this isn't really our primary thing. I run the gym that we own, and Bill is a clinical therapist. And we have that same approach in those things as well. We're not interested in quick, fast growth, the polarizing of things. We want to really like serve the people that are involved, and it's wonderful for it to grow. We obviously want that, but the right way. So that is kind of an important thing for us to, get to know people, have people kind of get some insight into who we are and what this thing's about. Because I'm sure people are like, why don't you do this? Or why wouldn't you do that? Or why are you not on Instagram? Or whatever it might be. And that's kind of where we're at. So, So kicking it off with this one is going to be fun. I will say that you love the naming convention. We started with the theme.
Should we talk about the theme that we started with? By the way, in case people haven't come to it or gone to it, we updated the website a little bit, in case y'all haven't seen it. Most of you probably have. How sick of a photo is this, by the way?
Yeah,
the version. So cool. I'm going to put it out. Newbie, just, sprinting at home. Anyway, we got the link to the finals thing. Season, we have that tab, so you can be reminded. Same thing as last year. We're not going to obviously put that up. And then the leaderboard with this.
Yeah, with the age groups.
With the age groups.
Also of an interesting naming convention there, Bill. Couldn't just do the...
Nope. Hey, you want age groups? We're going to do it. We're going to do it right. That was actually, that's like one of the foundational rules. Like, if you're going to do it right. And so,
yes, we all have a fun naming convention. Yes, we started with this theme actually driving down to finals. For those who don't know, we live in New Jersey. The finals last year were in Atlanta. That was quite a long drive. I'm not a fan of road trips. Bill is. And Bill decided on the way to finals, we would talk about this year's ruck races, which was really what I wanted to talk about.
What did you want to talk about?
I don't know. So we went through this theme that you were like really trying to make it work. It was like a numbers theme.
I wanted all the numbers. I wanted all the events to be a derivative or come back to the number 100.
So we worked pretty hard on that.
Super exciting.
We really tried, and we abandoned that because I think we got to a place where I think we got most of them done, but then there was like, well, there was that one. So we let go of that. And I think what we ended up with was much better because it wasn't attached to some random number.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was Google the name convention for age groups. Yeah. So, but this year, I think we have some really cool ones that are like the hardest thing about this is like you want to like
I know.
share, and you're like
I know.
like
I know.
and I did say like, oh, it'd be so cool to open up with like one of the more interesting ones, but again, kind of back to that same kind of thing, like understanding that that wouldn't be the best way for people to enter into this. And so taking that into account and hoping that people stick around and register and see what the ones coming up are, because they're different.
They're definitely different. I think they're better. I think they're better than. I think they're more interesting than last year. I thought last year again was great, and I don't really want to fall into the trap of like comparing. Every year is different, and that's. But I like this year's programming a lot.
Why do you think it's why? What, without obviously saying anything, like what is it about this year versus last year that you like?
I think there's more. I think there's more. So one of the sort of concepts before we even. One of the things that I was thinking about developing this before I even told you about it was this idea that each ruck race is like an opponent. As an athlete, you play a team, and every team you play is different. Some might be similar in terms of what their threats are, what their defenses are, like whatever. But every opponent that you play and compete against is going to give you a different look.
Like maybe make this more like tennis.
What? I have no
like
idea.
Like 1-to-1, like you're playing against one opponent. So like
I would use sports teams, but
okay, I'm
my
not
co-host
as familiar
is
with
right. So you chose yes.
Well, because like that person might be really good at serving, or the short game, or
the short game in tennis. What's the short game in tennis?
I think it's when you're up at the net.
You have no idea what you're talking about. What are you saying? Soccer.
Sports.
Yes, sports. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, every opponent.
And so I wanted to have each ruck race have a certain disposition and strength and challenge people in a unique way each time. And so that's where the sort of concept was like, hey, that would be cool if rucking as a sport, what does it mean for something to be an activity versus a sport, right? That was what we kind of talked about last year. And like part of it is when you play against a team for a team sport, you're going to have different teams have different strengths that you're going to have to adjust your plan to as well, especially if their strength is maybe something that's going to be, maybe you're not great at defending. Anyway, point being. And so I think that this year, the programming this year provides more variety for more distinctness between events so that you get a closer look at different teams versus, for example, the Chronos 60 minutes. I mean, we almost wound up changing. So Chronos, Atlas, Mirage was what we started with last year. Obviously, Atlas was different. That was very distinct, right? That was a strength test. But Chronos to Mirage was pretty similar. In fact, I don't know. I forget what the numbers are, but like people could have almost done the same.
Right. We considered almost like, do we adjust it? Yeah.
Yeah. There was like, oh, geez, I think people are going to do 9 miles in an hour because we dropped the load down. So I just don't think we had as much variety, and that's just part of iteration. So this season, I think we have more variety while still keeping it within this kind of challenging. It's a challenging ask of like, okay, how do you have variety, but also not have unnecessary distraction?
Right.
And the unnecessary distraction is the things like you're going to do some lunges or some burpees or some flutter kicks and stuff like that. Which if you want to do that and have fun doing that and like those kinds of workouts, like right on, go for it. But for us developing a sport with, to the best extent we can, having standards and common as common as possible of experiences, recognizing there's an inherent deviation from, us up in Jersey, Leslie out in Arizona, Kirsty in the UK crew, and like all of these different people wherever you're doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why I like this year's
Yeah.
programming. I'm excited for it.
I think I like some of the events this year because I think they have like a little twist, some of them. Whether that's a little more of a mental component. I mean, all these have a mental component, but like one in particular is kind of like, oh boy, there's an opportunity there, I think, for people. There's some that are cool that can be done a little more communally. So I think there's some little extras with each one that certainly, like, you don't have to take the extra elements, you can just do the thing. But I think there is kind of some unique little opportunities with them. I was
We're
going to say something about
also
the sport.
what?
Yeah, I think it's always good to get back to that, because we do get a lot of questions about, even with finals, was there going to be squats and lunges? And not to kind of beat this drum more, I think that is fine. That's its own thing. But the purism of like what we're trying to do with rucking and sport, not just entertainment. So there is some monotony with these things,
Right.
But there's also an opportunity to learn in that. Anybody that's done endurance, the longer stuff, there's a whole other mental side to that. And I remember last year doing the 12 miler and not really being sure I would make the cut. And you had told me to do the count, the pacing. And I was like, I am not counting 1, 2, 2, 2, 10, like for 3 hours. But I did. And it was oddly, like, I think that was like one of the top things I learned last year. Like, just there was like a safety in like that little counting and just like being present. It presented me with like a way to just stay in that step and not get carried away with like, oh my God, I have so much further to go. And so sometimes that monotony or just the purest, like, it would be great if I knew in 10 minutes I'm going to do some squats and push-ups and like, all right, that's like something for the brain to kind of be entertained by. But I think anybody that commits to this season who maybe is a little more unfamiliar with that place, endurance, and that single effort, there's definitely stuff to learn and gain from it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that without being able to see into the future and know for a fact, I think that these events, the season events this year, will have a more mental, more maybe not like in terms of volume, but just, again, back to that word of just kind of more varied. They will have I think each workout presents a unique mental challenge, a unique mental puzzle to kind of solve. And I'm really excited for that with people.
And we would love, I mean, everybody's been great with sharing on, I think one of the things that is unique about the Ruck Race League and our struggle, my struggle with Instagram, Instagram is the vehicle for us to connect on some of these things. So it is it's been a positive for us in this way. So I think that's really cool. Anybody that wants to share those things, I think it's always valuable to, it's something positive and in a shared space to kind of course, put up. No one needs to hide what the event is. Like, they're public. Your registration fee is to be part of something, right? To get on the leaderboard, to throw your hat in the ring. By no means is it like hiding what the workout is. Those are out there. But yeah, we'd love to hear people's experiences and what came up for them and beyond the physical.
Yeah. So this one, the furnace, 75 minutes, 25% body weight. That was, I think we were going to call it like 75, 25 or quarters. I don't know, whatever. So this was, I think, the only one that kind of survived the cut in terms of the.
So for anybody
100.
that cares, 75 and 25 does equal 100. So Bill got
Yeah.
his. This is it.
Yeah,
The
this is
start
it.
and end of 100.
That's good. Okay. There was something else I was wanted to bring up. Let's talk about finals. Oh, this is interesting. Kirsty, not about hiding a score. Threw my hat in early, mainly because I was so excited I couldn't wait. All right. First of all, Kirsty, thank you. That is awesome. And I've gotten actually a bunch of messages and emails about that this year. And they're like, oh, when should I submit my score? Yeah. So we've got 2 so far, I think, right? So we got 2 so far on the ladies' side. Justin Klein just introduced himself to the Ruck Race League world. Legit. Like, I'm very excited to see how this dude shakes up the leaderboard, and I have a suspicion he'll be at the top of it for quite a number of it. So a bunch of dudes are putting their thing in, which is really cool. Anyway, get the scores in. I thought what was so awesome last year was the leaderboard drama.
Mm-hmm.
And not by way of drama being about so-and-so did this. Like it was like good competition. It was like watching, we'll use your tennis example. It was like watching 2 people have an awesome volley. How loud are you hitting that keyboard, girl? Did you hear that? Did you not hear that?
No,
I know
no
the
one else
internet
can
heard
hear it. So
that. I know people heard it.
Anyway, yes, post
Anyway,
your score, 'cause
watching
it's
people
fun
just
to
go back
chase
and forth.
people.
Yeah, that was like super cool.
Part of it.
I think that get it in, get it and throw it out there. Like, one of the things that used to drive me nuts about the CrossFit thing was like, oh, we're playing chicken and we're gonna put it in the last minute.
I didn't post until the very last minute.
I hated that. I hated that. Everyone that did that, I hope that the internet shut down and they couldn't get their score in. Because it's like, just put the fucking score in there. Just put the score in there.
Okay, but in all fairness, when it's competitive, I get the strategy. But in this case, the thing you do miss out on is if you do it early and then you see, oh, someone else, these are workouts that you can repeat safely, most of them. So it's kind of cool to be like, oh, wow, that person did that. I wonder if I could do it. And that's part of what's fun and what's about the sport is maybe if you think you had a little more in the tank or you saw another score, you're like, ooh, I wonder if I strategized differently or if I did this. And you can do it again versus it would be so boring if the whole month there was no scores. And then the last day, all the scores came up and you're like, it kind of loses something. So I agree. I think it's more fun to, just put your score up, not hiding it. Maybe it motivates you to try it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the score in there. And also don't run the risk of forgetting. I remember last year, actually, somebody was very unhappy at me because like they didn't know that the score window was represented in Eastern time. And it's like, yeah, it's a bummer. Too bad.
Yeah,
and,
we have to have, we can't. Oh, sure.
Well, I didn't even let them register. They were like, because I turned off registration because I was like, that's late. If somebody registers and then the score submission, so I turned it off at like 11:55 p.m.
Because they weren't going to be able to do the event.
Yeah, and it made no. And they're like, I did. I'm like, you had all month. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Life's not fair.
Yeah.
But
so we're reasonable people, but we're also like rule followers because you can't make exceptions for people. So that came up a bunch last year with. I forgot, and unfortunately, like, that's just the way it is. So finals, we want this to be not the, dragging on and on, but finals, I think it's important to share a little bit about that because we're actually really excited about it. There's
Are we sharing the location?
Yes, I don't think anyone's going to know where I think the history of that park is kind of important. A couple of things for finals that we felt like were important are one, that there's terrain that obviously provides an interesting event, whatever that event might be. But again, challenges, elevation, distance, time, all those factors. It's cool for it to be aesthetically pleasing, like not just around a city block or something. There's actually a race that does take place in Queens around a city block, and that's a whole other mental thing. But having nature, I think that's really an element. We also don't want it to be snow or ice, those factors. And then we also want it to be accessible. So there might be some really cool remote areas of terrain, but if you have to fly and take a bus and take a train, and it's just not reasonable for people, especially since hopefully we are still getting people from all over the world like last year. So this is actually a park that is right by our home. But it is like I think our favorite place, our favorite park. We've done so many events there. It's called Natterar, which, fun fact, it's called the Raritan River. It's Raritan backwards. And the grounds are actually, the King of Morocco lived there at one point. They've turned it into a park. Now there's kind of a swanky, actually very bougie, if you want to treat yourself after the ruck race, if you make it to a $1,500 a night hotel room, you may do so. That's actually up there. There's a restaurant. But this park is amazing. We are only 45 minutes from Newark Airport. We're close, same thing to the city. So it's kind of nice because it's actually in a beautiful countryside with all the things you could want, but it's close to the airport, close to the city. And because it's our home, we have our gym, we have local restaurants. Actually, two of our winner last year, Grace, she and her husband own a restaurant locally. We just have so many cool things that we can bring to the weekend because it's in our sort of territory. So we're actually super excited for this year's finals. So if you have a high degree of confidence in your abilities, maybe, start checking out plane tickets to Newark, good old Newark Airport. But yeah, we think it's going to be amazing. So
yeah, I'm really excited. So October 17th, finals at Natterar. Place is awesome. It's like a personal, like, happy spot too for me. It's funny because it's the place actually where Ruck Race League, the idea was born.
Yeah.
And there's I actually know the exact spot on that trail that I was like, wait a second. So anyway, and it's like such a cool spot because Atlanta was awesome. Alatoona Creek Park was great. It was really cool the way it had that like single track racetrack vibe. It didn't have everything, honestly, it didn't have everything. It had some things that we were wanting but missing. Natterar pretty much has everything. It's got everything. It's like if you could build, we've been talking about this for a couple of years, but it's like if you could, I think we asked, like if we knew Natterar, if Natterar was not close to us and we knew it existed, would we pursue that as a site? And we're like, absolutely. So it's like, okay, well, why don't we do that here? And if I could build a course to test the best ruckers in the world, I think I would build it very, very close to Natterar, really close to it. So we're pumped. We're definitely pumped. October 17th, top 25 is what we're gonna start with. So
top 25 men and women.
Giovanni, yeah. What will the cut? And that was another thing from last year. We got a bunch of questions like, hey, what did you learn? What were some experiences from last year? I was a little surprised at how much kind of heat I got for changing top 15 for finals invites, which whatever. Everybody has an opinion, and that's cool.
Meaning
Meaning we said,
you kind of kept extending beyond
yeah,
the top. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, and at first looked at it, and when we looked at the top 15, it was like, this isn't deep enough. And I was like wrong at first. And then I think we said top 25. I think we pushed the 15 to the 25. And then within that, like, for example, I did not take a spot up, even though I was inside of the top, whatever.
Right.
Michael Dalton did not take a spot up. He knew what the events were, and obviously he did an awesome job capturing finals as well. So there was 2 spots that, so we're like we're trying to have, again, like, have it be inclusive, but also selective. And if people didn't finish one of the ruck races, that they're not getting an invite. So top 25 men and women.
People definitely were upset about that. And
well, they were upset because it's a hit on whatever. I'm not going to speculate.
But I'm glad we did it, and we had a great finals, and it was important to have people there. So
awesome.
This year we're starting with 25, but
yeah, I would imagine we're going to be, if 13 people also reserve their right or reserve their spot, and if 40 people do all 5 events to the standard that we submit, right? They say, hey, you got the video, you got the proof, you got all of the things, right? 40 people. But if out of the top 25, if only 11, we want more people. We want it to be a good time, So anyway, that's what we're going with for then. What else, though? There was something else I wanted to hit on.
Some of the things we're doing this year, what we're involved with.
No, that was for another time.
Okay. Not that.
There was a question here.
We will say right now, we're not doing the reopening of the leaderboard.
That's what it was. Yeah. We're not doing that again. I was surprised at that, honestly. Yeah. So last year we opened up the leaderboard. Honestly, one of the reasons why we opened the leaderboard was to try to give people an amnesty, like a get out of jail free card. Because we want people to submit their scores. Come on, like, get it in, get the leaderboard going, be participatory. It's kind of like we run this just like we run our other businesses, which is if one of our members at the gym is going away for a month, we're not going to charge them. Or if they're, if they don't come anymore, it's like, hey, stop. Like, we want you to participate in what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we really want that to have. We really want people to go 5 for 5. I think we're going to try to incentivize that also. I don't think we figured out how, but something more than just like a digital token. Like, anyway, so we're going to try to shoot for that. We're not opening the leaderboard again.
Right.
Ever or registration. Once registration closes at the end of the month in a couple weeks, it's done. See you in 2027. Standards for submissions, Leslie's asking. It's the same pretty much as last year. Strava screenshot, and all the instructions are on Strongest too. And it'll be clear. It'll show what it is. I went back and forth with actually Giovanni on here was helpful in navigating that discussion with the Strava. Only versus like Garmin uploading to Strava or whatever. My bad, my misunderstanding of how that platform actually works. So standards, you can wear a fitness watch or not. It's up to you. We're trying to have as little what's it called? Like control, unnecessary control on people. For example, if you want to use a different kind of ruck or whatever, but while also having it be a standard with like, yep, it's got to be on the back and blah, blah, blah. So standards are all in the Strongest thing. What else do we got? There was somebody else asking about. Hold on. Oh, a couple people have asked about training plans and like, what are we doing for? We did the preseason, the RRL train. I'm wondering. I would be interested in knowing how people progressed with that. If people did it, we're not gonna keep programming workouts. I'm just gonna say that, like, we're not gonna keep programming workouts.
And I think, just to hop on that discussion a little bit, and again, I think what's valuable about this format here is just giving some kind of insight into, like, we spend quite a bit of time talking about this stuff. Do we do this? Do we do that? Like this, we do kind of sometimes more than maybe we should get into the weeds about what we're providing, or the programming thing is a little bit of a sticky topic, I think. And I thought it was a great way that we handled it with you, just programming kind of a weekly thing this season in the off season leading up. But really, we don't. Maybe I'm speaking for you. We don't believe that there's like this. We don't think that we should. Our way of doing training for rucking is like kind of back to where we started this, the popularism. Like, no, you have to follow our program. This is the only way you're going to get good at rucking. This is what you need to do. I think there are things, and if you look at that programming, there's themes. You got to train your legs. You got to do single leg. You got to train your upper back, core, obviously endurance. Like, these are these categories. But you can find that. And I think that's what we love about this concept. You can find that in your gym. If you go to 24-hour fitness, you can find that in your garage. You can find that at a CrossFit gym. Like, you're not stuck with like, you have to do our program, or you have to do this ruck specific program. I think there's elements that are really important, and also understanding your gaps. Like, as you do this more, you might realize, wow, what's holding me back is this bucket, my endurance. What's holding me back is this bucket. And that's kind of part of it. And then seeking out, no different than any other sport, wow, I really need to work on getting that up a bit. That might look like, doing more running, following a aerobic program, something that's more specific to that. So that's kind of where we are with the training. I liked the theme leading up because it gave people an understanding and taught. I think it's like a good teaching tool. Like, oh, okay, I see. Like, these are kind of the buckets.
Right.
But going forward, there's many ways to, to achieve that training.
I agree with what you said. And I think leading this thing with as much honesty and integrity, and being, we've been in the fitness industry you've been in it for hundreds of years at this point. We've been in it for a long time, right? And like, I think we've seen certain people, certain personalities, certain businesses operate in a way that's like pretty true, pretty right. And then we've seen humans do what humans do.
Yeah.
And as leaders of this company, this movement, we want to make sure that we're considering how the perception of something might be. And part of that is also, if we're programming, and let's just say that it's a paid for service. Because we thought about that. I was like, hey, what if we just said, hey, as a bonus thing, because we're small business owners, we got like,
we also are in the fitness industry. Like, we run a gym, we program.
Right.
It makes sense.
For a nominal fee, a small little fee, or maybe an add-on, a season pass, and we can over deliver always in what we try to do, but also like not just have it be for the masses. That's an access point that I don't feel is not even about the financial piece, but like, wow, that's a pretty uncool perception that, hey, if you want to do well in this Ruck Race League thing,
Yeah, you got to sign up for our
you
stuff.
should sign for right. And it's like that's
Yeah.
not what we're after. And
Well, it's no different than if we said we're going to make bags and you have to use this bag to do the Ruck Race League. Like we also are not saying you have to use a specific, Strava, one of the reasons we chose it. I mean, obviously nothing's perfect, but it's free.
It's free.
We're trying to keep it as neutral and non-denominational or non-dogmatic as possible. And I do think it's important to not this is to make it approachable and truly something for people who can do it. Like if all of a sudden we're like, no, now you have to stop. When I trained for Ironman, that was all I did. I couldn't do anything else. It was biking, swimming, and running. So if I was doing CrossFit, no. If I was doing lifting, no. There was just nothing, so I think, part of this is like to make the pie bigger and to have people have an expansive, we talk about this a lot, just the two of us, like having an expansive experience. And maybe that is for someone like, wow, I never really did strength training. Cool, you're going to do that. Or I never really did, running, or I never joined a CrossFit gym. And that kind of is getting me motivated to, be a little bit more consistent. Like that's a really beautiful thing that we want to encourage, not have it be more narrowing where now you're giving up these communities and these other things because, well, I got to train for Ruck Race League and this is the program. Yeah. So, that's important to us as well. And we have some really great partners. I mean, CrossFit we're going to do an event at the games this year again, kind of a little different with some clinics.
That's gonna be a cool event. That's gonna be a cool event.
So if you're going to the CrossFit games, we'll be there doing like little clinics throughout the day and some workouts. We're, one of our sponsors this year's Hard Work Pays Off. They're like a online programming group that programs for many different things. Like they're offering some free memberships. So we like that this is connected to all other kinds of fitness, that this is not just its own completely different standalone thing that isolates you from all other modalities.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said this last year, but I think one of the things that I feel really strongly about is not trying to piss on every fire hydrant. That drives me nuts. That drives me absolutely nuts. And in this sort of hyper ambitious populism, grow, destroy all others, me versus you, like I'm like, we're not trying to do that. So having it be something that, rising tides and ships, something like that.
Rising tides rise all ships.
Isn't that a little redundant? That's not what it is. Rising tides lifts all ships.
Raise all ships. Someone will tell us. Yeah.
Point being, yeah. Some folks asking about nutrition. Don't listen to me.
Don't listen to Bill. I think one of the things, rising tides raise all ships. That is the quote. One of the things with nutrition, I think if you want to plan for that, I mean, it is requiring any kind of endurance event when you get over an hour and a half, really.
How do you think weight factors into it? Because your endurance events don't have the strain of load.
Yeah, so non-loaded endurance events. I mean, swimming, not that it's a load, but there's different factors to different endurance events, but generally moving your body in that type of cyclical way for more than an hour and a half, you do really need to consider your nutrition. And one of the biggest mistakes, most people fail endurance efforts because of their food and their fueling plan. So that's a great opportunity, especially kind of earlier on in the season. I would say, like, you got to practice it. You got to have
give us a protocol. Do you have a formula right away?
A formula?
I don't know.
Like, there's like a certain
every 30 minutes.
You can, there's like 200 calories every I don't remember the exact formula. I would say after an hour, it's 200 calories every 45 minutes. You can look this up on the Googles. It probably takes into account your weight, but the hydration too. So there's like the fueling and the hydration. And that is something I would definitely look into. And then, why are you laughing at me? I'm glad you find this funny. Are you laughing because your fueling is just cookies and
I was just
chips?
thinking this last season when I did the standard, the 12 miler.
Don't
right.
share your ways
I
because
had Rice Krispie
you
treats.
went to the hospital. You put
Not
yourself in the
last year.
no,
Not
not
last year.
last year. Not last year. But Bill, fun fact, went to this park, Natterar. We were training for this like 10-hour event. Hadn't run in months, hadn't eaten all day, probably didn't drink, showed up in the like 85-degree heat, ran 6 miles, and then proceeded that night to tell me from upstairs. Okay. It was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. This is what he says from upstairs. I'm like, okay. Drove himself there, told the people at the VA, hey, I need liquid, this. So I just say this to say, don't listen to you. What I'm saying, 11 miles, even better. What I'm saying is I would consider your fuel. That is not about muscling through. I don't need that. It doesn't
What
work.
I was laughing at though was last year. What?
I was trying to provide people with a little more insight, and you keep interrupting me with some silly thing about your Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, but when I was in the military, I just dipped Copenhagen the entire fucking time. And
well, nicotine's back, so people are going to listen to this
funny,
and say
the different,
you're promoting
it's just
nicotine.
the different. It's just funny the different
fueling. Well, if you want to poop your pants, go with Bill's suggestion.
No, you're fucking running on nicotine and hate.
Okay. Anyway, for anybody that actually cares about this question and an actual answer,
right.
Yes,
right.
I would. If you're wanting to be competitive, I would spend some time looking into this. There's actually calculators online that will provide you with these ratios. But one of the things is like having different foods, like sometimes sweet, sometimes salty. You kind of, especially in the longer things, you might find, oh my gosh, I can't eat another sugary thing. Maybe have some pretzels. If you think about marathons, that we had bagels. One of our people donated, the stores donated bagels. You never know kind of like what you need. So definitely experiment, because the GI stuff, that's a real bummer to be like, I'm doing awesome. And either your GI system like shuts down and that's what costs you like being able to finish, or your whole body goes into shutdown, which I've been there as well. Bill has as well. So you can't like override that. That's not something you're just like, no, I'm going to muscle through it. So just be smart and experiment. And if you are someone that's closer to the top of the leaderboard, I would say this is like obviously well in advance, but part of your training is to get ready for finals is training nutrition. Oh my God. That's right. You told us this. Yes. Well, that's maybe more information that we needed to share with everyone. Oh, is it better to poop your pants or poop in someone's yard?
Right. When we start talking about pooping, it's funny.
So anyway,
there will be porta johns on the course too, though, come finals.
Yeah.
So in case you do decide to follow
the
some sort of nonsense, just out of interest, what's the weather like in New Jersey in October? Is it humid? No. So October in New Jersey, honestly, like 11 months out of the year, it's pretty rough living here. October's for sure the best month.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
October 17th it's one of the reasons. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like fall. It could be a little cold. It could be chilly. It could be warm, but like it's usually really moderate, really temperate. Humidity is not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
The leaves, especially at this park, the leaves are just like awesome. So it's like finals is going to be a really aesthetically pleasing much different, Kirsty, than the heat in Georgia.
Yeah, we
And the
won't have
humidity
that.
last year. And that was, that was like, I wouldn't say it was a concern, but it was something we were very aware of and checking in on. And
Yeah.
also one of the reasons why we had kind of programmed it the way we did and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Michael's asking, can we screen Garden State? Fun fact about Garden State, they filmed that in my hometown. So
They also filmed an Adam Sandler movie in your grandfather's old house recently. So that's another fun fact. Yes, it will be optimal conditions
yeah, it'll
for
be good.
sure in New Jersey. So that's something to know. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have thoughts or things you'd like up for discussion for future ones, we're going to try to, plan these in advance, put one on the calendar for April so that we can, talk a little bit about that event when it's out.
We'll
And
probably try to do maybe another one at the end of maybe in 2 weeks. You're not going to be here. I'll be around. Nobody wants to see that solo sesh. But maybe doing like one with like leaderboard check-in.
yeah.
Questions. I don't know. Whatever. So.
Yeah. Are you sending me away? I'm not going anywhere.
Next week, you're not going to be here.
No, I know you said 2 weeks. Okay. You'll be away, actually, Bill. It's okay.
2 weeks from now?
We're giving people insight into, they're like, I'm starting to get concerned about our leaders. Yeah, let us know, what you think is valuable about these or what you'd like to hear more of, and keep sharing your stuff. We love to see people's stories on Instagram, and kind of keeps us connected and inspiring people for sure. We're changing things up a little bit. We have sponsors this year. Rogue is going to give a gift card every month, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we have some other supplemental sponsors as well. Some return sponsors, Kafaru, some new ones. So yeah, there'll be prizes and such. So that's pretty cool.
All right.
That's it.
Have a great weekend, folks. See you on the leaderboard. Bye-bye.
Bye.